confronting corruption and delivering sustainable solutions to end South Africa's energy crisis.
Delivered by Jacob Zuma.
I would like to greet my party president, Jacob Zuma, who was phenomenal during his time as the president of the country. In this, Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, South Africans are tired of excuses, tired of empty promises. They are tired of living in a country where darkness, both literally and metaphorically, has become the norm. The electricity crisis gripping our nation is more than just a technical issue. It is a crisis born of deliberate choices, systematic failures, and unchecked corruption. Today, as we debate this critical topic, I appeal to every one of you and ask you to reflect on what kind of legacy are we wanting to leave behind for future generations. Let us begin by acknowledging the truth. Eskom, once the pride of our public enterprise, has been brought to its knees by years of mismanagement and corruption. Load shedding is not just a sign.
Honorable Chair.
Honorable Mokoena, you can take your seat. What is your point of order, Honorable Badenhorst? On which rule are you rising on?
Will the member take a question?
Honorable Mokoena, are you prepared to take a question?
No, Chair, just that he must reflect on the truth that I'm about to speak.
Unfortunately, she's not prepared to take a question. You may proceed, Honorable Mokoena.
Thank you. Load shedding is not just a sign of broken infrastructure. It is a symptom of broken governance. It disrupts homes, stalls businesses, and puts our most vulnerable citizens, our elderly, patients in hospital, and learners in constant peril. But beyond the blackouts, another kind of darkness lurks. A darkness fed by greed, a darkness fed by self-interest, where public funds meant to power our nation instead line private pockets, as we have seen in recent times. Honorable members, corruption lies at the heart of South Africa's electricity crisis. The recent revelation surrounding Mulilo are a damning indictment of the ANC's failure to safeguard public resources. This company co-founded by Jan Oppenhauser, Eskom's former COO, has secured a contract worth 375 million rands over 15 years. A contract awarded by the very institution he used to control. It's not a mere coincidence. It is the same old ANC doing ANC ways. It is yet another chapter in their legacy of enabling corruption. And to reaffirm this, just yesterday, the very Minister of Electricity very heartwarmingly defended this. He claimed that there were necessary steps to address the crisis. It was published in the Times newspaper, and his excuse were as predictable as insulting. Let us ask the hard question: how does a man move from managing Eskom's finances to profiting from its contracts within months? How does the government justify awarding billion rands of contracts to companies that are tied to former executives? How do you live with yourselves? How do you sleep at night? And it is not just Eskom. We see billions wasted on failed projects like Medupi and Kusile. Tenders are awarded to politically connected cadres and a deliberate lack of investment in renewable energy. And then they'll blame ex-presidents when it is actually the current president and its government that is doing all the worst things. They are a part of a larger systemic betrayal of the ANC. Honorable members, the energy crisis is not just about cities plunged into darkness. It is about the forgotten communities. We as the National Council of Provinces, our job is to look out for our provinces. It is communities like Greytown, where families live without reliable electricity, unable to preserve food or power schools. In Dutwa communities where they've been waiting for years of promises of electrification to materialize, and the ANC dololo. In Tohoyandu, load shedding disrupts a small business trying to rebuild a fragile local economy. Lusigisi, students are crying and studying by candlelight at times because they are robbed of their future because of failures of ANC and its government. In Zwelicha, pensioners are suffering as power cuts are part of their daily lives. In Guyana, water pumps fail because of power outages, leaving communities without basic necessities. In Kandla, where power cuts deepen the struggles of rural households. Mthatha, residents feel forgotten as rolling blackouts stretch in hour after hour. In Kuma, our poor children walking along distances of schools with no lights on to power learning equipment. In Bloemfontein, small corporates trying to empower women are stalled by unreliable energy supply. In Sekhukhune, rural clinics are forced to operate without power, risking the lives of mothers and newborns. In Makana, residents are forced to use unsafe alternatives for lighting, increasing fire risks in informal homes. In Rustenburg, some informal settlements, people use paraffin stoves still at this day because of the poor ANC, with poor service. This is the reality of South African under the ANC. These are the communities left behind. These are the voices we must amplify. The MK Party sees you. We stand by you. We fight for you. We refuse to let these communities be forgotten. The GNU failures have plunged you into darkness, but we will work tirelessly as the MK Party to bring light and hope back to you starting in 2026 when we win all the municipalities without fail. For every village, town, and settlement that has been betrayed, we say to you, enough is enough. We see you. Honorable Chairperson, accountability is not just a buzzword. It is a necessity. It is something that the ANC and this GNU has avoided for a very long time. It is time to pack up your excuses. It is time to stop looking at me like you do not know what I'm talking about. The MK Party demands immediate answers and action. We need auditing of the IPP contracts, starting with the very Mulilo. The people of South Africa deserve to know how these contracts were awarded and who is benefiting. We need forensic investigation of ESCOM leadership, expose the web of corruption that has brought this institution to its knees. The minister defending these contracts yesterday was not speaking for the people. He was defending a system that benefits the elite while the poor suffer. It is time for this House to say enough is enough. Honorable members, we cannot simply dismantle corruption without offering a vision for the future. And we, as the incoming government, a strategy that is people-centered, a strategy that is transparent, a strategy that is sustainable. One, we want to diversify energy sources. We want to prioritize renewables like solar and wind with fair and open procurement processes. We want to strengthen infrastructure, modernize our grid, and reduce outages and accommodate new energy sources. We want to empower our citizens, abantu. We want to incentivize households and businesses to adopt green technologies, reducing dependence on this poor ESCOM. Transparent oversight. We want us to establish a citizen-led task force to monitor all energy projects and to hold this very government accountable. This is how we build a resilient energy future, by putting people beyond profits. Honorable members, the ANC and the GNU, well, the prime leaders of this GNU, have failed us over and over again. ANC has betrayed South Africa once and again. This governing party, entrusted with the hopes of a nation, has turned its back on its people yet again. People who believed in its promises. The light may flicker in our homes, but in the halls of power, corruption shines brightly, illuminating the greed and the arrogance of those who have grown comfortable with stealing while nations suffer. The ANC's legacy, in fact, the GNU's legacy, is written in rolling blackouts, in crumbling infrastructure, and in the anguished cries of rural communities left to fend for themselves. They have squandered the trust of a nation, and they dare to defend the indefensible. A minister who justifies awarding billions